90% of celebrities who reach the absolute peak of fame will experience a significant public downfall within a decade. Not a small stumble. Not a minor scandal. A full, documented collapse, career, reputation, finances, or all three at once. That number should stop you in your tracks, because these are people with every resource imaginable at their fingertips. Money, handlers, publicists, lawyers, therapists on speed dial. And still, 9 out of 10 cannot hold it together. So what is actually going on? Fame looks like freedom from the outside. But the evidence tells a completely different story. In the next 10 minutes, you are going to see how some of the biggest names in entertainment history went from untouchable icons to cautionary tales, and more importantly, why it keeps happening over and over again. There is a pattern here that almost nobody talks about, and once you see it, you cannot unsee it. Stay with this until the end, because the most surprising part is not the fall itself. It is what causes it. To understand why celebrities fall, you have to understand how they rise. The modern celebrity machine did not appear overnight. It grew slowly through the 20th century, accelerating dramatically with the arrival of television in the 1950s and then exploding with the internet in the 1990s and 2000s. Before television, fame was relatively contained. A movie star or musician could be famous, but the exposure had natural limits. A person could walk through a grocery store without being photographed 100 times in 60 seconds. What television did was create a new kind of intimacy between public figures and audiences. People felt they knew these celebrities personally. They invited them into their living rooms every single night. And that feeling of knowing someone created enormous emotional investment. When a beloved celebrity fell from grace, it felt personal to millions of people simultaneously. The fall became as spectacular as the rise, because the audience was equally invested in both. By the time social media arrived, this dynamic intensified to an almost unmanageable degree. Celebrities now had direct, unfiltered access to hundreds of millions of people with zero gatekeeping. No publicist standing between a star and a 3 a.m. impulsive post that would destroy years of carefully managed image building in a single moment. Consider the arc of someone like Britney Spears. In 1998, she was a 17-year-old from Louisiana who released a debut album that sold over 100 million copies worldwide. She became the best-selling female artist of her era almost overnight. By 2007, she was photographed shaving her own head in a salon in Tarzana, California, while paparazzi cameras captured every second. This was not random chaos. This was a predictable outcome of an industry that consumed her completely, gave her no genuine support structure, and then profited from her collapse just as enthusiastically as it had profited from her success. But here is what nobody talks about: the industry does not distinguish between positive attention and negative attention. Both generate revenue. Both generate engagement. A celebrity falling apart publicly is, from a pure business perspective, just as valuable as a celebrity at their peak. That reality creates a system with almost no built-in incentive to actually protect the people inside it. Look at the documented financial collapse that follows so many celebrities. MC Hammer was worth $30 million at his peak in the early 1990s. He filed for bankruptcy in 1996 with debts exceeding $13 million. Mike Tyson earned an estimated $300 million during his boxing career and filed for bankruptcy in 2003. Nicolas Cage reportedly earned $150 million across his career and lost virtually all of it through a combination of excessive spending and financial mismanagement that included purchasing multiple castles, a private island, and a collection of rare dinosaur skulls. These are not isolated incidents. A 2015 study by the National Endowment for Financial Education found that roughly 70% of professional athletes experience significant financial hardship within 5 years of retirement. The pattern holds across entertainment categories. Why does this happen so consistently? Psychologists who study sudden wealth syndrome point to several consistent factors. First, the speed of acquisition matters enormously. When money arrives gradually, people develop corresponding frameworks for managing it. When it arrives all at once, those frameworks simply do not exist yet. Second, the social environment around sudden wealth changes completely and immediately. New people appear who have a direct financial interest in encouraging spending. Third, and perhaps most critically, the psychological experience of fame itself alters decision-making in measurable ways. Research from Harvard Medical School and other institutions has documented that fame activates the same neurological reward pathways as addictive substances. The dopamine response to public validation, to recognition, to the specific feeling of being the center of attention for millions of people, is genuinely chemically similar to a drug response. And like any addiction, tolerance builds. What satisfied the reward system early on eventually stops being enough. This creates a documented escalation pattern that explains a significant portion of the erratic behavior that precedes major celebrity collapses. Think about the documented trajectory of Lindsay Lohan. In 2004, she starred in Mean Girls, which grossed $86 million domestically against a $17 million budget. She was positioned as the next major Hollywood star of her generation. Within 4 years, she had accumulated multiple DUI charges, several stints in rehab, and a public reputation that had shifted completely from promising talent to tabloid fixture. Her career opportunities contracted sharply and never fully recovered. What changed? The psychological weight of that level of scrutiny beginning in early adolescence. The documented pressure of an entertainment industry that placed enormous financial stakes on a teenager. The family environment, which by multiple documented accounts added significant instability rather than support. And a media ecosystem that was incentivized to escalate her struggles into entertainment content rather than treat them as a human crisis requiring intervention. But here is the counterintuitive piece that most people miss entirely. The celebrities who survive and maintain long-term careers almost universally share one specific characteristic that has nothing to do with talent. It is the presence of at least one authentic, non-transactional relationship in their life. Someone who was there before the fame and who will be there if the fame disappears. Someone with no financial stake in the celebrity's public image. Research into celebrity resilience consistently points to this factor above almost all others. Jay-Z built an empire that extends far beyond music in part because of documented, stable relationships and a business acumen developed through real-world experience before he was famous. Dolly Parton has maintained a career spanning more than 5 decades and is consistently cited as one of the most genuinely beloved figures in American entertainment. Her documented approach to staying grounded includes long-standing relationships, clear personal values, and a deliberate separation between her public persona and her private identity. The distinction matters because fame, at its most intense, creates a feedback loop that can completely dissolve a person's sense of who they actually are independent of public perception. When an entire identity becomes built around being recognized, the threat of not being recognized becomes existential. Decisions that would seem obviously destructive to an outside observer begin to make psychological sense within that framework. Creating any controversy is better than being ignored. Any attention confirms existence. Any reaction confirms relevance. This explains why so many celebrity public collapses involve behavior that seems almost deliberately self-sabotaging. In some psychological frameworks, it actually is. The person inside the fame machine, facing the terror of irrelevance, creates a crisis that guarantees attention, even negative attention, as a way of confirming they still exist in the public consciousness. The rise and fall of famous celebrities is not accidental. It is not a series of individual bad decisions made by people who simply lacked discipline or character. It is an almost inevitable output of a system specifically designed to extract maximum value from human beings during their peak, without structural support for what comes before or after. The pattern repeats because the system repeats. Until that system changes, the 90% figure is not going to move. What makes this more than just an entertainment story is what it reveals about attention, identity, and human psychology at scale. Before you go, if you learned something valuable today, hit that like button right now. Subscribe to BuzzCore for a brand new video every single day. We will see you in the next one.